Hello, my crafty friends. Welcome back to a new month. This is March 2nd, I believe. And we have the large die of the month, plus, and plus. I have gone a little astray, and I have to admit, this month, gosh, these all coordinate, guys. These coordinate. So there is absolutely no way I can do a video on each of these clubs, because the cards aren't a club. The cards are numerous clubs. So this video has 5 clubs in it. 5, if I'm not mistaken. We've got wax seal. We've got large die, which is the main focus. We have got glimmer. We have got embossing folder. We have got stitching. And we've got stencil. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we got 6. We got stencil too. So we've got 6 clubs all wrapped up in 3 cards. We're going to put one together, and then I've got 2 bonus cards. And the bonus cards are awesome. One is feminine, one is masculine, and the masculine one is going to my husband because it's us. So, yeah, I'm excited. So, let's just jump in. I have got, well, let me show you the die first. I'm getting excited. I want to build. I'm going to put it together. The large die is that. It is large. Now, I'm going to take this out of here. I also have the caboodle item in here because it does coordinate this month with the large die of the month. The large die includes everything here, plus one item over here. We have this whole stack of books, one open book, and this is the little binding for it here. 3 separate books here. These are the bindings of the books. They can either go up and down, as you will see in one of my projects today, or they can go laid down. And I just love the way they can layer. They also have little pieces that you can inset, like this little piece here. And of course you can do the shadow a different color so it shows through this part. This piece here has little pieces that cut out of it that inlay back in. I actually did inlays in this one as well. These little pieces pop out when it die cuts, and I inlaid them back in gold in one of mine. So there's lots of possibilities for mixing, matching, and doing all sorts of things. When I saw this, I thought to myself back to the olden days when I was a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and I remembered the regal tones. That's what my mind went to, rather than, let's see how they have them here. They have them kind of pastel-y. They got a couple, one dark book there, but they have a more pastel-y in here and kind of light and airy, more like. But I thought regal tones. So then I was looking at my colors, and I went back to my color cube, and look what I found. Card 347. Look, can you imagine that I would find a stack of books as the color picture palette? So that's what the first card is going to be. And the second card is actually a spin-off of this. And then the third card is totally not this at all. It's just a color scheme I came up with. So, but when I saw this, I was like, yeah, this is like Merlot in Stampin' Up! Paper. And I mean, it was just, I actually did Cosmic Sky for this one from the Spellbinders range, and Portobello from Spellbinders here. And, you know, it just came together. So that's what we're going with today. That's card 347 from Sarah Renee Clark's Color Cube for inspiration. Now, the trees here have 3 little tops to them. They could also be used as bushes if you wanted to use them as bushes. Then you've got the 2 foliage pieces. Then the large die comes with the house. You don't get this one here. This castle is actually the free caboodle item. That will come with the large exclusive caboodle that comes with all 10 of the club kits at that 60% discount price point. So if you do subscribe to the whole kit and caboodle, you will get this for free. And it coordinates with this set, though I did show you yesterday, I believe, in my first video on the first, I showed you this used with the Better Press set. So it can be used outside of this club as well. But I'm going to show it to you used one time in one of the cards today, but two of the cards don't have it in it at all. So let's jump in. I want to show you first here the backing again real close so you could see what the card is intended to create, because we are not creating this today. All three of my cards are different. They're not as intended. I'm sure you're going to see tons of makers making this one here. I adore this design, but I just had so many other ideas that I just ran in different directions. I will probably come back and make one of these just like this, but for now, my mind was wandering. So as I crafted, I just had to mix and match products. It's just the way it ended up. So I hope y'all don't mind that, and I hope you enjoy these projects. Let's just jump in and play. So the first thing we're going to do is glue our pieces together. I am not going to make you sit here and watch me do all of this, but I'm going to explain what I've done here. I figured the stitching of this one book was going to lead to it being a lot deeper than the other books. So what I've done here is made lots of layers, thinking that these other books, I want them about the same height on the card as the stitching one. The Stitching Club of the Month also has books in it. This one here allows you to stitch the actual pages, and this one here is the one we're using. This here is the binding that goes around this one when it's laying down. So, and then there's a cup, which we'll use in a different video. And then there's a whole collection of flowers. Now, I don't know about you, but this is a pretty well-versed, well-thought-out stitching set. It's called Read and Sip. And, I mean, when I saw it, I was like, you know, the person doesn't even need to like stitching because there's so little stitching on it. But you've got so many things you can do. You can do books, or you could do, you know, cups, or you could do florals, or you can mix and match, and you can go all different directions. But I'm just using this piece today. And I always double my stitching when the piece I'm actually stitching when I do that. And then, of course, I needed a background for my book to glue it all together. So I went ahead for these, and I made 3 layers. So this book here, the open pages, has 3 layers. Then it has its little top layer as well. So that's going to get glued on right there to make that book. Then this one here, I did 2 back layers. Then the top filigree layer, like so. And then it has the little crest to go right there on the spine in the center, like so. So then we'll have the stitching one here, this one here, and this one on top, like that on our card. So we'll go ahead and do the stitching one together, and then I will morph you through the gluing of the other ones. So go ahead and do this one. I'll glue these pieces real quick. I thoroughly love stitching. I'm trying to do a little more of it. I'm going to be taking it on vacation with me for sure. My husband and I did just book an April vacation. We were going to go out of the country, but we decided for April we're going to stick close to home. And that might be because we're going to do a larger trip later in the year. So it hasn't completely been booked and decided on yet, so I can't say where I'm going yet. But once it's decided for that trip, I'll let you know. But for this first trip, In April, we're going to Gatlinburg, Tennessee. So if there's any peeps out in Gatlinburg, let us know. It's kind of like our old stomping ground. We used to live on the other side of the Smoky Mountains in a little town called Sylva, North Carolina. And we lived there for 7 years, the first 7 years of our marriage, actually. And that was eons ago. But so we went over to Pigeon Forge and Gatlinburg area quite a lot when we were young. So it's kind of like, we even went there on our honeymoon for a day or so, a day or two of our honeymoon, and spent a day just enjoying life and each other. So I have started this. I already put a knot in my thread here. I'm using the gold metallic thread. And I went up through the center. If you hear the beeping or noise in the background, that is my Miss Lola playing with her toys in the other room. So I apologize for her antics, but you know, she's the little queen of the house. So you know how that goes with our little pooches. But I did start with the thread coming up in the center, and then I began coming up on the outer and going down in the center to stop that knot from coming up. Because this is really thin thread. I am just using one strand. I want it to be very delicate looking, as this is just the gold lettering like detail on the outside of your book. I usually use one thread with gold anyways, but I have used two before. It just depends on the look I'm going for. Whoops. But I really do like using 2 layers of paper for stitching. It just gives me a thicker, more stable canvas, so to speak. You know, it's kind of like when we did cross stitch back in the day. I would have, you know, the canvas taut in my hoop or in my frame, depending on what kind of project I was doing. So now I'm going to come down the spine here. This is so cool being on a book. And this is just a basic back stitch. The rest of the book is pretty much all the same type of stitching. Back stitches and then the circle stitch. Pretty simple. Rather than come up here where I just went down in, or well, actually I came out here and went down in there, I went ahead and came up on this one just so I didn't have to come back through there. And then it won't really matter where now you can come back through here. I just did that so it'll lay better. Okay, I'm really close to getting done here, and I'm really short on thread. So let's see if I can get this done without changing threads. It's really getting to the bare end, and it's all winding up on me. Anytime it's twirling underneath like that, if you hang it down like that, it will untangle a little bit for you and have less chance of knots. And at this point, you're going to get knots if you're not careful. One more. Now I'm going to tuck this under a bunch of these stitches a few times so it doesn't unravel. And there is our book. Isn't that pretty? Okay, so now I'm going to glue it to our backing. All right, whoops. We're going to lay that down. And I think I'm going to put something heavy on it. While we assemble the others. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and glue these, and then I'll be right back, and that will glue in the meantime. Okay guys, with this book I'm trying something. I've taped down some of this gold thread, and I'm going to attempt to tame it with some glue. So I'm going to bring it over here, and I'm just experimenting here. I thought I'd record it just in case it works. I've put glue on either side of my finger, and I'm just going to see if I can do this and make it look like it's a bookmark. Maybe. Yeah. Let's see if we can get it to lay down and be good. Maybe we could put a little of the dries or the barely art right under here, and also tack it there. Sometimes you don't want to mess with more. There we go. Okay, so let's see how we're doing here. So that would sit on top of that. Or no, that, like that. I think I will cut this a little bit. I just have to put this little label on the binding. Here we go. Okay, and then for the front, I have glimmered the Cobalt Glimmer that we received this month onto Cosmic Sky Spellbinders paper. And what we're going to do is just stack these on here. I'm going with those regal tones, so I wanted to bring in the blue, and then I used a darker navy here. And I'm planning on using this one for one of my son's birthday cards. So for a sentiment, I have chosen Magical Wishes for You, which is one of the Glimmer sentiments. I'll go ahead and glue these down. Then I will show you my bonus cards. I just love this added dimension of the stitching. I just think that is so neat that they did that. Now, my glue, on the other hand, did mess it up just a little bit by gluing it and putting that press on it on the top, but it'll be okay. Remember, these are aged books, so they've been sitting on these dusty shelves for a long time. They are not going to be perfect by any means. So tell me down in the description, what do you guys think about this topic of this month's clubs? When I saw it, I wasn't sure how it would go over. It's definitely different than the norm, which I think is quite interesting myself, but I liked it for masculine cards especially, because I've got 2 boys and 2 grandsons, and I love to have some masculine stuff. So I also know some teachers and readers. Some of my friends are avid readers, and so I think there's a lot of versatility in these items. I also know some Harry Potter fans and people that just love Hogwarts and all that, so you could actually spin some of this stuff that way too. But I can see how some people may not like it either, so I'm just curious what the consensus is. You know, a lot of people want flowers and all the feminine, springy and everything, and I can understand that too. I have had a sneak peek of next month's, and I think it's going to be a winner too. This one has got a masculine theme, and that one's got a feminine theme. So we got a little bit of everything at Spellbinders. And I like that about Spellbinders. They don't leave anybody out. They think of everything. It's very, very creative. Okay, I'm going to set this right up here. And this is going to be one of my son's birthday cards. Little glimmer, a little shimmer. And we got the book with the bookmarker. We got a little stitching. Just a classy, simple card. So that is one. Now so for this card, we have the envelope and the wax seal. And then for this card, we have the envelope and the wax seal. This is the one that's going to be my husband's. Our Story is my favorite. And this one, I used the piece that goes here. I turned it over and used it as a shelf. And then I put the books on the shelf. And I stayed with this theme, but I added this dark purple and I added this dark green, which is not in the theme, but I made it work. Oops, sorry, I'm out of camera. But, you know, I used this purple, which is my husband's favorite color, is purple. And I used this green in here, which I love with purple. And used the same other two colors here. And then on the background, I used the 2D embossing folder and the stencil of the month to create the background. I used the Distress Oxides and Antique Linen and Vintage Photo to do my background. So that's going to be my husband's. And then, I think this one's my favorite. I did another window card. I just had to, guys. This is the window with the view from the release last month. Tina Smith's release. I used her window and I used her sun and stencil. Everything else is from the clubs this month. The trees and the house are from the large die. We have the embossing folder. We have the glimmer. All of that is from the clubs that we're showing today. So I just loved the way this club fit down in the window. This is just a win-win. And I'm just in love. So for this one, I have a matching envelope as well and another matching seal. And the seal this month, it says congrats on your new chapter. So it's perfect for enjoy your new chapter there. So these are my 3 cards. I would love to know what you think about them and me going off the grid and doing something completely different than intended. I hope you enjoy this and let me know which card is your favorite. Is it the one we made today with the bookmark? Is it my husband's card that has the upright books? Or is it the window scene? Leave me a comment down below and let me know. Thanks a bunch for stopping by today, guys, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye, my friends.